What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, I wanted to showcase this very interesting AMOONGUSS team in the Spring Cup. This Pokemon is one of my favorite safe swaps that I've found in this meta. It's a very flexible pick, and benefiting from the new foul play pacing, it's able to spam out charge moves as well as core break quite a few different teams. The best thing about AMOONGUSS as well is it's a Pokemon that a lot of people don't expect, so let's get into the battles and see what this team can do. Alright, let's get right on into the first game of the day. We're going to see that we have a Tentacruel in the lead up against a Shadow Empoleon. Not exactly a great lead matchup. All of my fast and charge moves are going to be resisted by that Pokemon, and we're going to see a Mawile to counter swap into our Amoonguss. The thing is, Astonish is still a very good move. Mawile is a very squishy Pokemon as well, and we're going to go for the Grass Knot, try our very best at this point to either get a knockout here or a shield. Our opponent, though, does let that go. They know Mawile is bulky enough to survive that move, and comes almost certainly a power-up punch. We're going to no shield and try to reach a foul play. We're actually able to, at the very last second, reach this move. AMOONGUSS, I guess, just a bit too bulky here. Non-stab Fire Fangs, not enough to knock us out. Foul Play does end up knocking them out here, so now we have one switch advantage. We can get our Shadow Cacturn lined up into the Shadow Empoleon. A one-turn lag, a little bit unfortunate for us, actually, right now, because that means I'm not going to be able to get a full Sucker Punch down. If I could get one extra Sucker Punch of damage, I'm almost certain I wouldn't have to shield here. Yeah, I'd be able to get a full farm down. That one extra Sucker Punch of damage would have been enough, but we can still go for the CMP, get a shield back, and force them to see what their final Pokemon is going to be in this game. Shadow Cacturn is ramped up just a little bit here. What is their final Pokemon going to be? I just have to hope that we have play into it in the back. It's going to be a Pokemon that Shadow Cacturn loves to see here. Look at how much damage. 5. Count them, 5 Sucker Punches have done to this Golisopod. You love to see it, and now we can catch the move. We go for a full fast move down with our Pokemon, able to win that game despite the terrible matchup in the lead. Next matchup, you're going to see a Golisopod once again, this time in the lead matchup, though a much more comfortable spot for it to be, and we'll see what our opponent is going to do. Once again, I am running Sludge Wave on our Tentacruel. I have no idea if that's a good play or not, but in a matchup like this, if your opponent does not expect it, you can basically one-shot them here, make it so they only get to one charge move, which would be fantastic. Our opponent, though, does try to swap out into their own Lapras, which once again, this is a matchup where I'd love to go for Sludge Wave into. I did learn later on that you can actually pretty comfortably counter swap here with your Shadow Cacturn. I probably should have just done that instantly, but I'm still in a pretty good spot where I can just shield once, go for a full Sucker Punch down, and start ramping up against whatever is going to come in. Sparkling Aria is going to bait a shield from us here, but I don't think they're going to reach another one, and because of that, we have so much energy on Shadow Cacturn. What is going to come in? Big surprise, a Weezing in the Spring Cup. I know, right? That's a crazy Pokemon to see here, but Trailblaze, despite being resisted, is going to do... That's a crazy amount of damage to have done to a Weezing, right? That was resisted damage. We have another one already. Our Sucker Punches are going to be doing more damage than the Fairy Winds, despite being resisted and taking super effective damage. We're able to farm them down. No, not quite. Our opponent does swap out at the last second here, but look at how much damage we did to this Golisopod as well, just with fast move pressure. Shadow Cacturn putting in so much work right now. I know this video is going to be about Amoonguss, but that Shadow Cacturn damage is still unreal. In comes the Scald at this point. Our opponent will have to shield this up. They would just get completely farmed down if they don't. In comes the Scald. We're able to get that shield here and go for a full Astonish down up against this Golisopod. Now, they might have Aerial Ace, but that move is so bad it doesn't even two-shot us here. Even X-Scissor, while it is a good move, it's not super effective thanks to our poison typing. We get a full Astonish down, and now we can Astonish down all of the HP on the Shadow Galarian Weezing. While they do have a bit of energy here, I know for a fact we can still survive a charge move as long as they don't go for an overheat. Sludge does not end up knocking us out thanks to our shield, and a foul play able to close out this endgame matchup here. Amoonguss didn't have too much work to do in this game, but still able to close it out there. GG to our opponent. Next game, going to see our Tentacruel once again in the lead up against a very bad lead matchup, but we have two Pokemon that in the backline can generally beat this. Let's see what they're going to do. Now, they're staying in for just a second here, so I think they might be on the Flash Cannon moveset, and if that is the case, I want to make sure that I can shield up a very potentially damaging move against us and chip this down as much as we can. Although they do actually swap out here, very interesting play by our opponent. I know that this swap out is potentially a good idea for them to do, but because I have Grass Knot, which is not always the preferred moveset, I've seen some people run Sludge Bomb, but Grass Knot does so much damage to him here, and I think we're able to maybe survive a move from this Pokemon. If they're on Sludge Wave, so be it. I don't think a lot of these Tentacruels are going to be on a nuke like that, but I guess, there they are. They are able to knock us out with that move, but we baited out this Tentacruel. Potentially, our Shadow Cacturn could put in some work in the backline. I also did chip down that Ferrothorn quite a bit, right? So I think at this point, we can take a charge move here. If it's Thunder, that's kind of annoying, but if it is going to be Power Whip, I can survive that pretty easily. Go for a charge move here in just a second. Our opponent, though, does reveal Thunder, which does a massive amount of damage to our Tentacruel. With that said, they're staying in when I swap in my Shadow Cacturn, and it seems like they might be a little weak to this Pokemon. They're trying to draw a shield from us, which, since I'm so squishy, I do have to end up shielding that attack. But in the backline, going to be a Pokemon that does not want to take boosted Sucker Punch damage from a Shadow Cacturn. Once again, Trailblaze is going to start ramping up our attack stat here. I don't think I need any more charge moves in this game. I'm just going to start tapping my phone screen, make sure I can get a full farm down against this Pokemon. Empoleon takes 6 fast moves to get to a move. They're not going to get 12 fast moves here. That means they're only going to get 1 charge attack. In comes a full Sucker Punch down, and that Ferrothorn at this point is going to have to shield the Trailblaze if they want any chance to win this game, but I still have energy on my Tentacruel. I still have a lot of fast pressure to go. Our opponent realizes that, and Shadow Cacturn able to close out that game. All right, next matchup, we're going to see a Tentacruel into another Golisopod. Fantastic lead matchup for us here. I know Tentacruel can win this matchup very convincingly, but our opponent might potentially try to make a catch on a move at some point. If they do, that could be kind of bad, but if they don't expect that I have Sludge Wave, I can knock them out before a second charge move is going to be reached. I'm just going to instantly throw this move, try to full send. Let's see what they're going to do. Sludge Wave being thrown, they might try to call that I have Acid Spray. Our opponent is going to no-shield the attack. I one-shot the Golisopod, and in the backline, a Ferrothorn. We know once again, our backline is just so good in this Pokemon. No reason to stay in that matchup. They top left, honestly, a little early there, but I'll take it there. GG to our opponent. Next game, Tentacruel into a Weezing. Tentacruel is just popping off on the lead here, which is such a nice break from yesterday's video where I kept on losing the lead using Shadow Cacturn. I guess Tentacruel lead is the way to go right now. In comes a move. It could be potentially an Overheat, which while it is resisted, it is still going to do quite a bit of damage to us, right? Putting us just about at half HP here, and in the back is going to be that Lapras safe swap. The thing is, though, I know from trying to look it up on pvpoke.com, I know this matchup now. I know I can shield. I can 2-shield actually and farm them all the way down and be a double boosted Cacturn, or at the very least a single boosted with a ton of energy. And because this energy is generally a very scary thing in the backline, I know that's the way to go. I shield once, I go for the Trailblaze. I undercharge just in case they no-shield to get a bit of more energy, but our opponent obviously did shield that attack up. And comes our second shield, Sparkling Aria. Would actually do about half of our HP, which is kind of crazy just with how squishy this Pokemon is, but we get that full farm down before they're able to reach a third charge move. Of course, the Weezing comes back in here. Trailblaze is going to be thrown. Does our opponent shield up this move? Does this knock out the Weezing from this range? That's another question right now. Trailblaze is boosted. It knocks out the Weezing. We're able to get another Trailblaze off into the Dugong. I don't know why this video is not about Shadow Cacturn. It is popping off right now. I guess it's probably because I made the video yesterday about it, but still, this Pokemon is just so crazy. Able to go for another Sludge Wave here up against this Dugong. Now there is nothing Dugong can do here. While the Drill Run is super effective, we have done way too much damage into them there, and we're able to get a swift 5-0 set with this team. This team was so much fun to try out here with this first set. Let's see if we can continue on pushing here in this second one. We're 1-5-0 away from Legend. I know I keep saying that here in this season, but the thing is, I have been kind of choking every time I'm super close to it. Can we get the 5-0? This is the last set of the day, so if I don't get it here, then I'm going to have to keep on doing it tomorrow and see if we can have a chance at getting Legend in the next couple of sets. In comes a Lapras safe swap once again, and we have our Shadow Cacturn that now we know exactly how to play out this matchup. It is going to be a great thing to see. In comes a Sparkling Aria. It seems like they're never going to go for an Ice Beam here in this matchup, which does make sense, because Psywave, while it is resisted, we know just how squishy this Pokemon is going to be. Trailblaze comes through, it gets that first shield, and our opponent at this point has no idea what's about to come for them. I'm able to shield this move, go for a full farm down, come out of this matchup with way too much energy, and while Weezing does technically resist all of my charge moves, we have seen just how much damage Trailblaze can do against other Pokemon. In comes what? What is going to try to take our energy? Of course, it's that Weezing, but Trailblaze at +1. What is it going to do to this Weezing? Nearly, I was going to say one shots, not quite. I got a bit ahead of myself, but basically knocks him out with all the Sucker Punch damage, and we survived the Fairy Winds to get another Trailblaze here into the Weezing. They had to shield against a Cacturn of all things, and now we have an Amoonguss that can come in against the Jealous, and we're able to easily win this matchup. I have our charge move once again that's going to be super effective into them. Foul Play would be super effective, but Grass Knot is just a little bit more efficient here. It's also the same type attack bonus. Going to try to one-shot this Jellicent if I can. This game is under wraps. Amoonguss able to land the charge move here into that Jellicent and able to win the game. All right, next matchup, we're going to see a Tentacruel lead into a Shadow Empoleon, another very bad lead matchup, but we're going to see what we can do in this game. I know that Amoonguss is going to try its best as a safe swap. In the backline, going to see potentially a good matchup for us. If I had Sludge Bomb here, it would be a bit better for us, but Foul Play as well, after these Astonishes, are going to start threatening shields. They don't know my moveset as well, so maybe they're going to try to shield and attack early, just in case I do have Sludge Bomb. Foul Play going to be thrown. Our opponent could shield us up if they want to, but they might no-shield, calling the bait. They do shield, so now I have a shield advantage, and because of how much damage that first ace did, I'm kind of unsure if this even knocks us out here. In comes the ace, yeah, we survive, and they're doing Vine Whips as fast move pressure. It's going to take them a long time to fast move me all the way down. In comes another potential Sludge Bomb into this opponent. Our opponent will go for a no-shield here, which is a little bit sad. I was hoping for a 2-shield to 0, but I'm going to force him into throwing another charge attack here to knock us out. The thing is, while Shadow Empoleon does technically resist all of my charge moves and all of my fast moves on our Tentacruel, it still is a very squishy Pokemon, so if I have a lot of energy, I can work around that later on. We go for some Sucker Punch damage here, unfortunately in the back line. Not a Pokemon that we really want to see here with our Shadow Cacturn, but thanks to Amoonguss setting up a shield advantage and potentially Cacturn setting up a bit more of a farm down against this Pokemon, I might still be in a good spot. They're going to be forced into throwing energy against us. They cannot wing attack us down, which is good news because now I can farm down even more energy with our Tentacruel. We still have that shield advantage. As long as I can get to 2 Scalds, maybe 3 against this Empoleon, I should be able to win this game. It is the Shadow Empoleon, but it is still going to resist my charge move here. I'm not sure if I can one-shot them and farm all the way down, so I think I might actually still need 3 Scald here if I want to knock him out. But because I don't have Acid Spray, I have just a bit more pacing that I have to try to get to. In comes the first charge move here from our opponent, and I think I'm noticing their fast move right now is not Metal Claw, they're actually on Steel Wing. So while they have a bit more fast move pressure, they're going to have a lot less charge move pressure against us, so I'm able to go for another Scald and just heavily outpace this Pokemon. Scald number 2 does get a shield, our opponent also gets debuffed here, which means now even if they somehow do land a Drill Peck into us, it's not going to knock us out. In comes the final Scald. This should be the nail in the coffin. This should close out this game and flip one of the worst leads that we could have seen here. There, GG to our opponent. All right, next game, going to see a Weezing in the lead. Another great matchup here for our Tentacruel. And on the safe swap is going to be a Golisopod, a Pokemon that, well, I could have stayed in with our Tentacruel into it. I feel like our Shadow Cacturne is still just our better response. I can start ramping up. And while there is going to be that Weezing, you've seen that is not a problem for a Pokemon like Shadow Cacturne that can just start ramping up, doing so much fast move and charge move pressure over time. And we'll see what our opponent is going to do. They do opt to shield, so we'll have to double shield our Shadow Cacturne to get a full farm down here. But I think that's fine by me. Keeping switch against that Weezing is going to be fantastic for us. X-Scissor does draw our second shield, but that full farm down has come in clutch here. The Shadow Sucker Punch is able to keep switch advantage for us in this game. In comes the Trailblaze. Do they shield? It does about half of their HP if they end up letting this go. And comes the Trailblaze. They do not realize just how powerful this Pokemon is. We don't quite farm them all the way down, but they're so low at this point that it's almost not even a concern for us. In the backline, going to see a Ferrothorn, which is a little bit tricky for our backline to see. I know that Amoonguss does have good play into this, but if they have access to Flash Cannon, then potentially they can two-shot us here, and they do have that shield that they're able to expend up against our Amoonguss. In comes the first charge move. If it is on Thunder, I can survive 2 attacks here. This matchup would be fantastic for us, but no, it is Flash Cannon, which means now they will reach a second one here in just a second. We go for a CMP, and thankfully they're going to throw all of their energy. The thing is that Weezing is so low on HP right now that as long as I can knock out this Ferrothorn before a Power Whip comes through, then I can farm them all the way down. So there's no reason to try to farm down this Ferrothorn, right? Just instantly throw a Scald against him when I can. They have wasted all of their energy against our Amoonguss, and we have enough energy to outpace him right before the Power Whip is going to be thrown. So in comes the Scald. It should knock them out here, and our Tentacruel should be able to farm all the way down against this Weezing. Scald gets a knockout. Weezing comes back in, but they're way too low to do anything. Tentacruel able to close out the win in that game. All right, next matchup, Tentacruel into the Tentacruel Mirror match. Fantastic matchup to see, mainly because I get to avoid this with their Shadow Cacturne, but our opponent, if they get lucky enough, it could be a little annoying because I might lose CMP. If I lose CMP and I get debuffed, it could be kind of bad. And comes the charge move. What is it going to be? Almost certainly a Scald. That was after 8. It could be an Acid Spray if they want to play it out that way, but no, Scald comes through. Luckily, no debuff, but I did learn that I do lose CMP. Scald coming through of my own Tentacruel. Let's see if we can get a debuff. No debuffs across the board right now, so a very even mirror matchup. Our opponent is going to throw a charge move at the immediate time that they get to Scald, so I'm expecting right now for them to likely get a debuff. That just seems to be how it goes here against us, and I'm going to see if we can reach 2 more Scalds here in this game and force them to throw energy. We reach 1 Scald, we are 1 Poison Jab away from the next one, so our opponent will be forced into throwing energy as soon as they can here. In comes the attack. It does a lot of damage, but they Sucker Punches down with the Cacturne right before I can do anything about it. Luckily, though, we did land that Poison Jab against them, which means I think I can win this mirror matchup, but it will be just a little bit more tricky than I'd like it to be. I do need to take out this Cacturne, though, because I know I have Astonish damage against them with our Amoonguss. That would do almost nothing to a Pokemon like this, so I need to take care of the Cacturne as soon as I can. But the other tricky thing is they also have access to a bit of HP and a bit of energy left over on that Tentacruel. I wouldn't mind if they come in Tentacruel here, because if they do... Oh, no, Shadow Mawile, that is terrible to see in the back line. I know at this point, our Amoonguss, despite having a lot of neutral fast move and, the charge moves are resisted, but they do a decent amount of damage, we're going to get outpaced here. These Power Punches, while I do have to no shield, they're going to start ramping up the Fire Punch damage, and that Tentacruel in the backline is still healthy enough here to either reach a Scald or to fast move us all the way down. Foul Play does end up getting a shield, not looking like we're going to get the 5-0 to Legend here in this set, but potentially we can salvage a 4-1 and put us in very close striking range tomorrow. All right, Lapras comes in the lead here in this next game. Very awkward lead, honestly, because Psywave is super effective here against our Tentacruel, but this is kind of where having access to Sludge Wave is fantastic for us, right? If they don't have Skull Bash, which I mean, they did build up to potential Skull Bash energy, but as long as they don't have it here, I should be able to reach this Sludge Wave and then maybe get a lot of damage or a shield from this Pokemon. Sludge Wave is going to be throwing our opponent. Will let it go. It does a massive chunk of damage here to Lapras, and now they're forced into throwing another Sparkling Aria to knock us out. I could go for a Sucker Punch down here, or potentially an Astonish down. I feel like it's going to be a little bit more worthwhile to go for an Astonish down. They shouldn't reach another charge move here, as long as I can go for a full Astonish down in 3 fast moves. And comes a 1-turn lag on our Amoonguss. Our opponent thanks to that one-turn lag, does reach a move here. Not great for us to see, but as long as this is not an Ice Beam, we can still at least have a decent amount of HP. Thankfully, not going to be a move that one-shots us there. In comes their own Amoonguss, and because of this, I'm going to try our best with these foul plays to chip them down and maybe use our Shadow Cacturn in the backline to fast move through whatever they have. Thankfully for us, they don't have a hard answer to our Shadow Cacturn in the backline. Vanny here is a little bit tricky to see, mainly because I know this Pokemon has access to X-Scissor, but since they are using Shadow Claw as their fast move, there's no faster pressure, but an X-Scissor from a Vanny into a Shadow Cacturn, I'm sure that probably four-shots you from that range because this Pokemon is so squishy. Bug is so good into both Grass and Dark, so I have no idea exactly how much it would do, but I'm sure it would just murder this Pokemon. And comes the X-Scissor here. I do double shield. I want to get as much faster pressure as I can into this Amoonguss. I even go for a Trailblaze, which if they no-shield, wouldn't do a ton of damage, but still put them very low. Our opponent does shield that attack up, and just look at these sucker punches here, tearing through this Amoonguss's HP. At this point, they are in astonished down range. There's no way they can knock out both my Cacturn here as well as my Amoonguss. We go for a full astonished down, and we can get the win there in that game, giving us a 4-1 set and setting us up very nicely for tomorrow to potentially push towards Legend. I am 9 points away. I've been in this spot so many times this season. Is tomorrow the day where I pull it out? Let's hope so. The only way to find out for sure is to come back next time, so make sure to subscribe if you want to see more Pokemon Go content on the channel. But thank you again for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.